Welcome into Hockey Sense. Once again, it's the August edition. Welcome into August, which means next month hockey really picks up, at least at the NHL level, with NHL training camps beginning in September. This month is when everything else begins, with youth hockey really getting going here in the U.S. and up in Canada as well. Welcome into the show. I'm Andy Strickland, as always brought to you by First Community, and it's great to have you with us as always as we go year-round here on Hockey Sense. Of course, for years we were on radio. Now we've taken it to the podcast platform full-time, and great to have First Community as our title sponsor here on the show. So many other great sponsors we'll get into later on in the program here today on this edition of Hockey Sense. Keith Fisher is going to join me. And listen, this is always an opportunity. Whenever you talk about Hockey Sense, when you get into the truly the dead days of the summer. I mean, late July, you get into August, not much going on, although the World Summer Showcase is going on right now up in Minnesota with the USA Hockey hosting the World Junior Summer Showcase. They do it every single year. NHL teams are all up there. Canada has 2 teams. USA has 2 teams. Finland brings a team. Sweden brings a team. In terms of the Blues, I believe 2 prospects are participating in this year's event. You've got the goaltender from Sweden who was drafted this past June. Love is his first name. I don't think you pronounce it Love, but we're going to call him Love regardless, and we certainly love his game. He got a big victory in his only game that he's played so far in the tournament, stopping 32 of 34, I believe, against one of the USA teams. You can double check me on that if you want. I've been reading so much stuff, it's just tough to keep up. I wish these games were on NHL Network. I feel like they used to be. And now they're not available to watch on NHL Network. It's kind of ridiculous. Justin Carbonneau, the Blues first rounder, is also participating for Canada. Has an assist, I think, so far in the first 2 games. We'll see if he can get going as the event wraps up over the course of the next few days. You got the Hlinka Gretzky selection camp going on. St. Louis has 1 kid there, George Komodowski, big right shot defenseman, headed to Notre Dame, actually headed to Flint to play in the OHL this season. Played prep school last year, grew up playing with the AAA Blues organization, and now he's headed to the OHL. So best of luck to George. We'll see how that plays out, and if he can land a spot on the Hlinka Gretzky roster. But even if he can't, just being there and obviously being exposed to that type of environment is certainly going to help him moving forward. So Carbonneau, Louvre, that's basically what you have going on right now in terms of Blues players playing. I will say this, Dylan Holloway, I saw him skating the other day. That's a great sign that he's back on the ice and he appears to be fully recovered. We'll try to get him on the show here in the coming weeks. I want to get Tim Taylor on as well to kind of talk about a lot of these guys. We haven't had a chance to talk to Tim Taylor. We tried to do it around the draft. We tried to do it around development camp, just couldn't make it work. So we'll get him on here in the next few weeks and dive in a little bit deeper into prospect camp and at least give you an idea of what to look for as we head into main camp coming up in September. The schedule is out. We've talked about that. We're looking forward to all of that. But again, good news on the Dylan Holloway front, man. They need him healthy. I see a lot of people out there putting together the line combinations. Listen, I've never been a big fan of that. If you listen to the show or if you've listened to me over the years, I don't typically do line combinations in July and August. I mean, I guess it's fun to do, but things can always change. And this is one of those years, though, where I don't see much change. I mean, I would imagine they give, Braden Shen the opportunity to be a third-line center right off the bat, maybe a second-line center. Who knows how that's going to play out? With Pius Suter being here now. Do you call him Pius? Do you call him Pius? I still haven't asked anybody what the correct pronunciation is of his first name. I've always called him Pius. Others have called him Pius. We got another Suter on the team, which is all that matters. Just don't call him Sutter. That would drive me crazy when people would call Bruce Sutter on the Cardinals side Bruce Sutter. There's only one Sutter in St. Louis sports history. We know who that is. And Brian Sutter, although his brothers played here too. But the legendary Brian Sutter. And it's not Pius Sutter. It's Pius Suter. It wasn't Ryan Sutter. It was Ryan Suter. So it's good to have another Suter with us here on the St. Louis Blues. But, you look at the wingers, not much is going to change there. I think you'll see Snuggerud get an opportunity to play with Robert Thomas. You got a passer, you got a shooter. I like that combination. And then to start things off, Pavel Buchnevich, who can slide up and down your lineup, let's be honest. He'll get the crack at it, playing with Thomas to begin the season, most likely. Although things can change. We're going to get Jim Montgomery on here in the next few weeks, too. and start kicking around some of that stuff with him. We'll do that on the Cam and Strick podcast. So we'll see what Monty has to say about who he wants to play with who. But I would imagine Holloway and Kyrie were going to stay together. Why wouldn't they? They had great chemistry last season. So that's where you get into, Suter versus Shen. Shen being your captain, I would imagine maybe he'll get the first opportunity. But this is going to change constantly throughout the entire season. But again, now with Suter coming on board, and then you get, to the Jake Neighbors of the world, and, maybe the Texiers, maybe the Josephs. You just don't know how that's going to play out. Nick Bukestad, obviously, being on your fourth line. Oscar Sundqvist is going to play. I don't see him being a healthy scratch when the season begins. And he can play wing or he can play center. So they'll find a spot for him, at least in the early going. He brings some value, obviously, with his ability to kill penalties and even being a net front guy on the power play. I just think the coaching staff trusts Sonny, and he'll find a way into the lineup. And then you got Nathan Walker and Toropchenko, obviously, filling out that fourth line, with most likely being Nick Bukestad as your center. Although Sundqvist could end up being your fourth line center. You just don't know how it's going to play out. That's why, there you go. That's why I don't typically get into line combinations in July and August. I just think they're kind of pointless because they do change so often, but they are fun to talk about. And that's why we're doing it here. And I think that's why other people are doing it as well. Fowler, Parayko shouldn't change. I'm going to have Falk as your, as a top four right shot defenseman. That's not going to change. I know Logan Mailloux, who joined us a few weeks ago here on this podcast, is coming into the fold, but he's not going to leap over Justin Falk to begin the season. So I think if you can have Mailloux and Tucker as your bottom pair, I think you're in a good spot. Mailloux plays with way more physicality than people realize too, in addition to his skating ability and his passing ability and his awareness. I think he's going to only get better defensively, under the guidance of a guy like Mikey Weber and certainly under Monty as well. And they've got other people in the organization too. Al McInnes being one of them. Just having conversations. Al may not get on the ice, but he's traveling with the team. He's around the team a lot. And so Broberg and Falk, I think, would be your second pair. So I like the Blues defense. I like the Blues goaltending, obviously, as well. Now, I'm going to throw this out there. I just feel like this is going to be a year for the Blues to really make some noise. I just have that feeling. The last couple of years, it was, hey, if they can find a way to play meaningful games down the stretch into the month of April and really challenge for a wild card spot, I think people would look at that as a success if they could find their way to be in the mix down the stretch. And I think now that mindset has certainly changed after making the playoffs last season, taking the number one team in the division to a seventh game in double overtime. I just feel like this year, I know the Blues aren't going to sneak up on anybody. People realize they're good, but just by even talking about the personnel on the team and what these line combinations could look like, this is a team that is certainly capable of getting to the second round and competing, really, truly competing for a top three spot in the division. I think they can get there. Colorado's going to be an interesting team. They've got the two-headed monster up top, but what is the rest of their team going to look like? How competitive is Colorado going to be? I think with just Makar and McKinnon, you automatically make the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs. But are they going to slide down to a wild card spot? Are they going to secure a top three spot? Is Winnipeg going to be able to return to where they were last year? They lost Ehlers. They're not going to have Lowry to begin the season. They're going to be trying to work in Jonathan Toews. Are they going to be able to be the same team and maintain that level of play that they showed in the regular season last year? I think most people would probably say yes, and they would probably, say yes about the Dallas Stars as well. Utah's going to get better. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to get better. Minnesota, we'll see where they're at. But I feel like St. Louis is certainly accelerating. They're only on the incline. But it's going to be a different animal in terms of um, having expectations, playing with expectations versus, you know, not having those heavy expectations weighing over your head as you enter the season. So we'll see how it plays out with the Blues this season, but I'm looking forward to it. We'll get heavy into Blues as we continue in to the month of August and obviously on into September with training camp beginning and all of that. So bear with me, stay with me with a lot of that type of stuff that we have coming up here on Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Keith Fisher, I've been wanting to get Keith on. If you remember, we talked about him as a strong candidate to get the Lindenwood job. He's been at Penn State forever. Penn State just landed Gavin McKenna. They got all these things happening. Michigan State's landing a ton of blue chippers as well. I mean, these teams have unbelievable facilities. It's a different ballgame. Keith Fisher being at Penn State all those years, not coming to Lindenwood, it's not the exact same situation. But I think by having these type of people coming into the organization or the program, I think can help move the needle a little bit. And not to suggest that anybody at Lindenwood is blocking progress or the program from taking that next step. But I think when you bring people on who have credibility, who didn't have to come, he wanted a head coaching opportunity, but he wants to lead his program. I get it, but he wants to do it the right way. But he also understands what it takes to recruit quality players and to win. And in order to do that, it's not just your schematic, strategy that you come up with as you get into the season. It's everything around the program. It's the facilities. It's the support of the program. It's the boosters. It's the alumni, all of that. And so obviously the program hasn't been around very long, so you're not going to have a ton of alumni. But again, you got to really start getting things moving in the right direction and making sure the coaching staff and the program has everything they need to be competitive in the current climate of Division I ice hockey. Because if you don't support the coach, if you don't support the program, and you just want to get by and treat it like it's a club program, it's not going to work, and it's not going to be sustainable. And guess what? You're not going to have an NCAA Division I program here at Lindenwood University 10, 15 years down the road, if that. But if you support it the right way, this is going to be sustainable. You're going to have a great program, one that eventually becomes very competitive, and one that eventually is a priority for a lot of local kids in terms of where they want to play their college hockey. Those who are good enough to move on and play at the D1 level, where Lindenwood for local kids truly becomes an option, where they want to play here, where kids grow up, going to games and dreaming about putting that sweater on and playing for Lindenwood University. So I'm excited to talk to Keith. We'll get into all of that and then some. They've got a great schedule they put together once again. They're going to host Wisconsin and host Denver University, I believe. So they've got some great home games this year. In the past, they've gone and played against some of these elite programs, but they've had to go on their own. So we'll talk to Keith coming up next. Back to school. August is here. That means back to school. I'm ready for the kids to go back. I think it's all good. It's time for most kids to start preparing for school. You got a young person in your life, you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot to be done. A lot to be done. So let me tell you this, though. And this is where First Community, they've got everything covered. No matter what you need, everything you're looking for, they've got something for everybody. So they've got a college cashback checking that earns cash back with no minimum balance and no monthly fee. So the account comes with free mobile banking, a free debit card, and if you have your own account at First Community, they can even set you up with cross-account online access so you can help them with their banking even if they're not at home. So the college cashback checking that earns cash back with no minimum balance. You set up your kid with their own checking account. Check out First Community. They'll tell you all about that. Blue Note Roofing, baby. We got the sign in here. David Novak gave us a sign, so we put that up here in studio. We love it. 314-920-5713. You can't ever miss the phone number. Give them a call today. Gutters, siding, soffit, fascia, roofing, whatever it is. They got you taken care of. He's got free estimates. He's got all the insurance claims and the specialists that you need. Hail, wind, any type of damage you get from storms, Give David Novak a call today. This is the logo you find on the side of his big, bright yellow truck that you see driving around St. Louis. Again, 314-920-5713. Services all of Illinois, other states as well. So don't feel like if you're listening, you're out of state. You need roofing, you need gutters, you need soffit, siding, fascia, whatever. And say, well, he's in St. Louis. No, he may come to you. Give him a call, and you guys can work out the logistics with that. 314-920-5713. Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. We love our friends over at Dirt Cheap. Nobody does it better than the Wallace family, taking our St. Louis lifestyle to the next level, one dirt cheap at a time. And don't sleep on the party supplies and the party goods. I just mentioned the back-to-school checking account. Are you having back-to-school parties, the going-away parties? Are you still doing graduation parties, birthday parties, whatever it is that you have going on this summer, barbecues, all that type of stuff? There's only a few more weeks left before the kids go back to school, like we said. Do all your shopping and everything you need over at Dirt Cheap. They've got the best selection of beer, wine, and booze. They've got that incredible walk-in beer cooler. But don't sleep on the party supplies and everything you need there, too. Paper goods, all of that. Lottery tickets, cigars, they got everything over there at Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop, baby. What an unbelievable job they do. Lordo's Diamonds. We love our friends over there at Lordo's. Mike and Jimmy, Pat, Cindy, everybody over there. Are you looking to pop the question? No better place to do so. No one has a better selection of engagement rings. No one has better customer service. That's why they've been around for almost 70 years. Can you believe that? Right there in the heart of Ladue, right next to Truffles. 314-432-8008. Right next to Truffles, man. In the heart of Ladue. Lordo's Diamonds, get in there. If you have a $500,000 budget or a $500 budget, guess what? You're going to be treated the exact same. Everyone's going to be treated the exact same with the utmost courtesy, respect, all of that you would come to expect from quality people like Mike and Jimmy Lordo. So check out lordosdiamonds.com. All right, Hockey Sense about to get underway. Keith Fisher, Lindenwood University, joins us next here on Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. I'll turn my phone off as well. Keith Fisher coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Great to see you, Keith. Thanks for doing this. Congratulations on landing the job. I'm sure it's been a whirlwind over the course of the last several weeks. What's it been like for you and your family as you prepare to move to the Midwest here?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a whirlwind, but an exciting time for me and my family, and looking forward to moving to the St. Louis, St. Charles area next week, and getting a little bit more settled. I've been back and forth between Lindenwood for a couple weeks during the month of July. Got out an opportunity to do some recruiting, a lot of phone work, touching base with all the players. So it'll be nice just to, I have this move taken care of next week and, get settled a little more.
All right, first question, because of your roster, which the roster is so important, and whenever there's change, typically the roster changes with it. What's the roster looking like next year in terms of players coming back? Were you able to keep the majority of the roster that was here last year?
Yeah, we retained a lot of guys, and I think that's a credit to Lindenwood. Is not a lot of guys jumped ship on a coaching change, so very pleased with that. We did lose 2 defensemen off the current roster, and then 1 incoming defenseman and our goaltender. We were able to replace those guys, so I feel very confident about our decor. Replace them with some guys I'm a little bit more familiar with, which is good. But yeah, as far as what the roster composition is, I don't know a ton about it. And I had a team meeting with the guys last week, and basically told them, I go, I'm not going to do a ton of video work on you guys. I've done some, homework on you guys as far as character and what kind of people you are. But my evaluation of you as a hockey player is going to start once we hit the ice. So it's just warning them, make sure they're ready to go whenever we hit the ice for our first practice.
And when is that? So when do you get on the ice for the first time with these guys?
We can officially start practice the day that school starts, and I think that's August 20th, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there, August 22nd, whatever that Monday is. And I told the guys we probably won't do much that first week. I know everybody gets to school and they want to get going right away. And I told them we have to be ready for Wisconsin October 3rd, and there's about 5 weeks in there, 6 weeks in there. That's a lot of time. I don't want them to be sick of me. I don't want them to be sick of, kind of beating each other up for 5 weeks. We need to be peaking for Wisconsin. So we're just going to kind of grow into that time, but I don't want to get going too early where we get sick of practicing, they're sick of me, and they're sick of, beating up each other. And, hopefully we can plan it right where we're peaking for Wisconsin there on October 4th.
It's a long time. I mean, to wait till the beginning of October to play when you start practicing, like you said, in late August. So what do you do during that time? I mean, are you able to schedule any exhibition games? I mean, it's a lot of practice time. And is that late for college hockey to get going, or is that pretty much what it is across the board?
I mean, that is the early start date we can go. So what we have, the first couple weeks, we're on our 8 hour window. So we have 8 hours to do meetings, workouts, and practices. So your practices will be shorter, will be very specific, but again, we can't go super hard during that time, and we don't want to wear guys out before that first game. So you kind of want to build up until that first game, and there'll be very specific practices, very themed practices going on. Just again, implementing how I want to play, our systems. And coming together as a team. We're going to keep things light. We're going to do things fun, because we need guys to be engaged for those 5 weeks.
All right, so we were just talking. So you played your college hockey at St. Cloud State, and I know you coached in the USHL. You've been at Princeton. You've been at Penn State forever. Why is now the right time? And like, why Lindenwood? How important was it for you to get an opportunity to be a head coach, lead your own program? But what was it about Lindenwood that really wanted to make you leave a program like Penn State that's going as well as it is right now?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Goals change all the time, and it's always been my goal to be a head coach, and this kind of came together quick, and I just with my time here at Penn State, very proud of what we've been able to accomplish, winning the Big Ten regular season, Big Ten playoff championship, made 5 or 6 NCAA tournaments, made the Frozen Four this past year in St. Louis, and this is just another chapter in the book and a new challenge for me, which I'm very excited about. And, talking with Jason Coomer, the AD at Lindenwood, and, I think our values really match up and our goals match up. And it's very similar to what we did at Penn State, taking a program from club program and transitioning to Division I. And, they're a little ahead of the game where we're at Penn State. And, I think Bill McCall and the staff did a great job of laying the foundation last year, and now it's my job to take that foundation, keep building upon it, and keep taking steps. So I think it's an exciting time for Lindenwood University. I know today on campus they're having a barbecue to congratulate everybody there on transitioning the whole school to Division I. So I think they got a lot of stuff going for them. St. Louis is a hockey town. I think it could be big. I think the rink is great. I think the school is great. I think the city's great. I think we have great support there. So I think this is just the infancy of the program, at Lindenwood, and to be able to get there at this time is really exciting for me.
How much support did you have from Penn State? The people you work around, the coaching staff, and you know these guys so well. Were they pushing you to, hey, take this chance, take this opportunity?
Yeah, you know what? It's something I've always had my eye on, for the last couple of years, and unfortunately didn't get an opportunity at some schools, but people were very, very supportive, and there's only 64 Division I head coaching jobs out there, and so they're not easy to get. So that's where I just felt like this is the right time and the right place for me.
Penn State, I mean, it's not like they have been on top of the hockey world forever. I mean, they're certainly ascending, in the right direction, getting some big name recruits and whatnot. But what do you want to bring to Lindenwood? Do you feel like Lindenwood can get to that level, get to the level that we're seeing Penn State be in right now, or is there a distinct advantage that a Penn State would have? I mean, you look at the arena they have there; they're in the Big Ten conference. I mean, when you're in a conference like that, does that give you a jump start on the rest of the competition?
Well, it does give you name recognition right away, because right away coming into the building, on your schedule every year, you have Michigan coming in, Minnesota and Wisconsin, and then Notre Dame joins the conference. So scheduling is a little easier, and those teams bring some brand name recognition with them too, and kind of natural rivalries from other sports that Penn State competes in. So from that standpoint, it's a different animal as far as, jumping into the Big Ten. Pagula Ice Arena is a beautiful arena, one of the best in college hockey. And, You're just at a different school here. But that's the fun part about taking this challenge at Lindenwood is what we want to join the right league at the right time, but we want to do things right. And there's an avenue to doing things, staying independent, and still making the NCAA tournament. I know Arizona State has done that. They were very successful as an independent. And it's something I've talked to their staff about, how they did it and their kind of vision on were they able to sustain that. Now they ended up in the SCHC conference, but there's a lot of different methods to the madness here. But again, with the support that we've had from Lindenwood and Jason Coomer from day one has been awesome. And I just want to keep growing this bigger and bigger and bigger.
What about recruiting? I mean, you recruit a certain type of player at certain universities where you have an expectation. I mean, Boston University, let's be honest, they're looking for a certain type of player. Does your recruiting, which you have so much experience doing, and that was a big part of your, job responsibility, I would imagine, at Penn State, does that change? Are you looking for the same quality of player to bring to Lindenwood that you would bring to Penn State?
Well, I don't know if we're going to get the same caliber player that we would get at a Penn State or another Big Ten school, but that's okay. There's a lot of different ways that you can build a hockey team and a hockey program, and it's not just all getting all older kids. And you got to get the right guys with the right fit. And I feel I'm very comfortable recruiting and just having different connections throughout the hockey world. I feel that we're going to get the right players in here for this program to take the next steps. But you look at Western Michigan; they won a national championship this year. They didn't have all the first round draft picks, and if you look at all the NCAA championships for champions for the last 10 years, I don't think only one of them has had a first round draft pick. So getting the top end talent doesn't automatically make you a great team. It's bringing the right guys together at the right time. And that's what's really exciting about this opportunity is, getting guys on the same page and pulling for each other and keeping things simple. Like that's what really excites me about, this challenge and taking Lindenwood to the next step.
Yeah, you can get a first round pick, a kid who's highly drafted. He may only be there for a year though. You know what I mean? So it's like it's tough to build with those type of players. I'm curious how you see the college hockey landscape changing with what we're seeing right now with the CHL and the USHL and just junior hockey in general. You've spent your life recruiting players at that level, junior players and whatever, or even obviously younger than that. But what's going to change? What are we going to see the biggest impact be from CHL players now, being eligible to play NCAA hockey?
Well, right now, I think it's kind of chaos out there in the hockey landscape. Like kids don't know where to go, which is unfortunate. And, do I leave the USHL to go to the CHL, whether that's WHL or OHL or QMJHL, whatever? There's a lot of misinformation out there. Everybody thinks the grass is greener on the other side and they got to go chase this, got to go chase that. I tell you what, I've coached in the USHL. I've coached a lot of NHLers in the USHL. I've recruited a lot of NHLers from the USHL. That league's still really good. It's still going to be really good. But it's just going to be a lot of chaos here for the next couple of years until Hockey Canada and USA Hockey come, to hopefully a transfer agreement. And but at the end of the day, the teams in CHL want to win, and the teams in USHL want to win. And but the good thing is, I think hockey in general is in such a great spot, in the United States. I think the talent level across every age group is going up and up every year. And you just look at the kids coming out of Florida and St. Louis, and you used to have the M's, the Minnesota, Michigan, Massachusetts, where the players are coming from. Now they're coming from all over, and you look at the Chicago area, the St. Louis area, but now you stretch out to California and Florida, and there's players from all over. So I think USA Hockey's done a tremendous job of going into non-traditional areas and developing kids and doing a great job of it. So I think, and that's the nice thing. A lot of those kids have grown up with college hockey. And, I think for the next 2-3 years, there's going to be a lot of chaos and kids leaving programs, and then kids get cut and they can't come back. And there's a lot of misinformation out there right now. So it'll take a couple years to settle down, but I think for college hockey, at the end of the day, it's going to be really, really good because I think the talent level is really, really going to rise in college hockey.
Keith, how do you look at what's the right time or the right age for a kid to walk into college hockey? Because now I think, you may see kids come in at 19, 20. I think we've always kind of seen that and see kids play at 24, 25. Like, how do you view that? How do you know if an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid is truly ready for it versus maybe now having the option to go play another year, a junior or whatever before, arriving on campus?
That's a great question. And kids and parents always get into comparing each other. While this kid's going into school, I should be going into school. But each situation is different. You need to go to school when you're ready to go in and compete for a spot. And especially with roster limits coming into a lot of schools now, um, we can't redshirt guys. We can't like gradually, work guys in the lineup. That's not how it works. And, there is still scholarship limits. I know there isn't, I know the NCAA, opened up that most teams can have 26 scholarships if they want. I don't know if many schools are going to go up to that level just for financial reasons. So, you know what, you look at some kids like, wow, this kid got this opportunity. That's not fair. I'm a better player. Well, he might be, but maybe he's a full pay. Maybe he has better grades than you. So there's a lot of different reasons, but at the end of the day, you should go to college hockey when you're ready. And I always said it this way: is like, do you like play? I ask a kid, do you like playing hockey? Yeah. Okay. What's the worst thing? I'm going to extend your hockey career by 6 months. Okay. Now you play another year of junior hockey. Now you might have an opportunity to sign a professional contract that you didn't before. Usually, you never hear a kid say, "Man, I played juniors way too long," But you do hear kids saying, "Oh, I should have played another year junior." But you never hear a kid saying, "Oh, I played too long. That hurt my career." So, I just think the most important thing is before you take that next step, and it's not even going into college hockey, it's before, kids are U14, then they want to jump to U16 right away and, go from U16 to junior right away. Take your time, enjoy hockey. I think that's the most important thing. And what gets lost is, enjoy what you're doing. And, I look at a kid, I could tell you a million stories, but one I know very well is Jake Genzel. Mike Genzel's a family friend of mine for years, and Jake had an opportunity his ninth grade year to go up to varsity. And they held him back and played Bantams that year, and he scored like 220 points his Bantam year. Did that hurt him?
220?
Yeah. Did that hurt him that he went out and dominated and had a great time and worked on his skills all the time rather than everybody's in a hurry? Oh, he's got to make varsity. He's got to make varsity. No, he went and ripped it up. And that's okay. It's okay to be the best player in bands. It's okay to be the best Pee Wee player. It's okay to be the best high school player, U16 player. That's a good thing. And I think a lot of guys lose that. And it's okay to work on leadership skills, which I think is lost in a lot of kids. So, hopefully kids will, slow down and, not always be jumping to the next big thing that they think that the grass, like I said, the grass is always greener on the other side. That's what the perception is.
I know. No, I think that's great advice. You see it. I mean, I've got a young kid playing. You see it even with the young kids. I mean, they feel like, hey, if I go play a year up, it's going to put them in a better situation. More often than not, it's about the parents versus the kid. It becomes an ego thing, right? It's like it makes you feel better to say, hey, your kid's playing up, but they may not have a good experience. How young a kids? When do you start recruiting kids? What's the youngest kid you really started to really hone in on?
Well, today's August 1st. So today's the first day that we can offer kids that are grade 10 going into grade 11. But we started recruiting those kids January 1st. And then today's the first, January 1st, their sophomore year. Now today's the first day that we can offer kids. So a lot of schools are going to be out calling kids and offering them. And you go back on statistics that look that of all the kids that get offered August 1st after their sophomore year, about the commitments last about 50%.
Because then you can change, right? You can change your mind or whatever. It's not written in stone. It's just a verbal commitment.
It's just a verbal commitment. So a lot of times the kids can change. A lot of times the schools can change. A lot can happen over the next 2-3 years before they end up on a campus. So, that's something I think as a college body, I think we should try to slow down a little bit. I think it would help schools. But I also, more importantly, it helps the kids and parents that they're not, by their phone today waiting, for a phone call. And I think, if we could slow the game down, I think it would, bring hopefully a little sanity to not only recruiting, but also youth hockey as well.
All right, so you haven't even really stepped foot on campus yet, but you're recruiting. So what is the selling point? What are you selling? Are you selling your experience and what you've done with all these players and helping Penn State get to where it is today? Are you selling Lindenwood? What are you trying to sell right now, Keith?
Yeah, I'm saying in Lindenwood that kids have a great experience at the school. I think that's the most important thing, and I love that. That's something I really like during the interview process. Kids really love their experience at Lindenwood, which I think is really, really important. They love the school, they love their time there, they love the rink, which is important. But I'm also selling opportunity. You have an opportunity to come in here and be a top six guy and play a lot right away and showcase yourself. Don't limit yourself going to another school where, again, you got to work your way in the lineup and, maybe you're going to be a fourth line guy. Then they might out recruit you every year. I see a vision for you. I see you, be a top end guy for us and you want to go on and play pro hockey. It's all about opportunity. And I feel confident with how we're going to play and to be able to develop guys and with our staff, that we're going to put you in those spots and develop you for pro hockey. That's our goal. But at the end of the day, I want you to have a great experience playing hockey at Lindenwood, and I also want you to have a great experience as a student as well, and enjoy St. Louis. St. Louis is a great town. You can go to Blues games, you can go to Cardinals games. There's a lot of stuff going on, a ton of concerts, whatever. So. The weather's, probably one of the best in college hockey. So, all pluses from that standpoint, but, selling a lot of opportunity.
Did you create the schedule or did you inherit the schedule? I was taking a look at it this morning. I mean, you mentioned Wisconsin is who's up first October 4th. That weekend. But I think Denver's coming to St. Louis this year, where in the past, I think Lindenwood has had to travel there. So it's a great opportunity for fans to come out and watch some great college hockey. And you've got some great other road games and some other home games that are on the schedule. But did you inherit that? Did you have a say in the schedule?
No, I inherited that schedule. I mean, a lot of that work is done, at least a year prior, in advance. I mean, I had a hand to do in one series, but all that work was done prior. But I give the staff a lot of credit, and this is the type of schedule we want to play. And as an independent, we can play. We're playing Wisconsin. We're playing, our first four series are Wisconsin, Lake State, Denver, Miami. All great Division I programs, and then we also have Maine. We also have Minnesota Duluth. So I put our schedule up about ahead of a lot of the other leagues in college hockey. And that's another thing too. When I'm recruiting kids, I tell them the schools that we're going to play. They're like, well, that's way better than this league. That's way better than this league. So you can do some creative scheduling things that really make your schedule really well and very competitive. And that's going to be my goal. As long as we're an independent, we're going to schedule, try to, we got North Dakota on the schedule. We're going to try to get Minnesota. We're going to try to keep Wisconsin on the schedule, Western Michigan, Miami, Omaha, all those schools that are top schools. Those are the schools we want to play.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's a great selling point, no doubt. Before I let you go, though, tell me about your staff. Who's with you on your coaching staff?
So Jack Coombs is a local St. Louis kid.
He's a three-eyed hockey star right now is what he is. I mean, he is. I mean, there's highlights on NHL Network. There's everything. This guy scoring penalty shot goals.
Yeah, no, it's a great opportunity for him. So I'm very happy that he's able to take part in that, which is awesome for him. But tremendous hockey player from St. Louis, and it's nice to have a local kid on staff as well. And been very impressed with him and his work ethic, and really excited to work with him this year and get different ideas. And I was able to hire one coach, Andrew McGarrah. He was actually our student here at Penn State for 3 years. He's been at Bemidji State for the last 2 years, working at the USHL previous to that. But I just love his work ethic, very passionate about the game, really knows the details of the game. And then Mark Abney is sticking around as director of ops as well. Does a great job. He does a lot of the heavy load scheduling and enrolling guys, and kind of does a lot of the dirty work that us coaches don't want to do, which helps. But really, really excited about my staff. I'm actually really, really pumped for them, and really excited to get to work with them. And the nice thing about taking a new job is working with new people, and I'm looking forward to get new ideas from these guys, and really excited to step on the ice there in late August, early September.
Yeah, you got a good one for sure. All right, last thing for you. What changes the most now, going from being an assistant or an associate head coach to now being the head coach? I mean, are you able to defer? Do you feel like you got to be hands on with a lot of the stuff that you've been in charge of over the last several years? Is that going to be a challenge for you to say, okay, you go handle the recruiting now, and then I'll get involved later?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be an evolving piece all year. I am going to have my hands in recruiting, but I do know that some of my responsibilities are going to take me away from that, and I'm not going to be able to get on the road as much. But it's something that I know is so important to our program that I am going to be very involved with it. And but we had a staff meeting this week, and we talked about different responsibilities, and I'm probably going to be a little overbearing on these guys right away, and just getting ideas from them and how they want to do things, how they want to approach things. But, a big part on the ice early on is, it'll probably be a lot of me, just of how I want to play and how I want our team to play. And, but again, I want to take some ideas from them. They're going to have some good ideas on how to play, how to practice, things like that. But, knowing I have other responsibilities as well, the good thing is I trust Jack and Andrew and Mark to do their thing. And whether I have I got to speak at the Rotary Club in a couple of weeks, and I have different meetings on campus, and just know there's a little bit more responsibility that way in fundraising. And it's comforting that I can put my head on my pillow at night knowing that these guys are going to do a great job with their responsibilities as well.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, I'm excited. How'd you find out the job was available, was open? Did who
It just
contacted you?
it was weird. It was weird how it happened. Like, the Michigan Tech job wasn't even open. All of a sudden, it was Bill McCall was new head coach of Michigan Tech. And actually, I talked to Jason that night. We had a great conversation, kind of hit it off, and from there, it kind of went pretty quick. And but really, really impressed with Jason and the staff there, and really excited on how we can build this.
You find a house and everything? You're all set up here in St. Louis?
Yeah, well, we're not set up. So we just closed on our house yesterday. So that's where we got the moving company here in State College. We roll out on Monday, and now we just found out we won't get our stuff for a couple of days. So we're all going to hang out at the house on air mattresses, or get in a hotel, or so we're figuring all that stuff out. But yeah, we'll be in the O'Fallon area, so we got to get there. I got two young girls, and school starts early in the St. Louis area, so. We got some meetings at the school next week already, and but the most important thing is get them settled in school and get going.
All right, yeah, it's got to be an exciting time for your kids and the family, and certainly for you, and it is for hockey fans here as well. So we got to get you down to a Blues game as well, and showcase you down there as with everything you've got going on, and we'll be paying attention and getting to some games, and certainly doing our job to support the program. So I know you do a great job, Keith. I mean, this is exciting for St. Louis hockey. So thanks for doing this. All the best with the move, and we'll see you here in St. Louis.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, Andy.
Okay, you got it, Keith. Take care.
Bye.
All right, we just had Keith Fisher on, who's now taking over Lindenwood University, who spent the last several years at Penn State, pumping up that whole program. Everything with Pagula Arena, everything going on there. And now we go to Jamal Mayers, who's in Pagula Arena.
Wait a second, new coach in Lindenwood?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
What happened?
You didn't know your boy Bill Muckalt went to Michigan Tech?
You've had coach there?
Yeah. So Bill Muckalt goes to Michigan Tech. Keith Fisher, who, I mean, he's been around for a long time. I mean, this guy has a great track record, won championships in the USHL coaching in Omaha. And then he went to Princeton. And then he's been at Penn State University since the very beginning as associate head coach. And obviously helped that program get to their first Frozen Four this past year that played in St. Louis. And now he's taking over Lindenwood. How about that?
I didn't even know Bill McCall left.
My God, this was like months ago. Come on, Jammer.
I'm late to the
You're busy.
late to the party.
What hat are you wearing today? What hat do you have going on there?
Oh, this is uninterrupted.
Ooh.
It's what's it called? The podcast there for LeBron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a listener?
Not really. I like the colors. Pretty simple.
It's a good color. It's a good color.
Good fitting hat.
What's going on in
The Blues new colors.
I know they are. I know they are. I like it. Look like the Los Angeles Chargers a little bit too. State College, Pennsylvania. You like that college town or what?
It's pretty cool. Yeah. The pretty good setup here. It's an unbelievable facility that Pagula's built, and that's where we are for the weekend for a camp, blue and white camp here at Penn State.
Do you get a chance to see underneath the building and check out the facilities? Have you done that?
Oddly enough, about 12 years ago, I did a game for Big Ten Network, and I got to, meet with the coaches before the game. It was Penn State versus Michigan State, and we got a tour of the locker room then. But the boys got one this morning. I never, the parents didn't get a chance to walk through today. So,
well, you might just have to go down there and ask if you can go see it, Jamal. They may let you in,
You're right. I might have to.
I mean, you can't leave there without seeing the facilities, because I'd love to get your feedback. And and you can help other programs too when you see some of that type of stuff. So I think
Western Michigan's coming up with their own building soon, so that's exciting.
I know. So what's going on there? They have a $500 million donor. Is that what it is? Someone who's donating. Who has $500 million to donate?
I forget the name of her family, but it's pharmaceutical. It's the wife's. It's her money, her family money, and donated it to build a new rink. $350 million. So,
if I needed $350 million, Jamal, and you had it, would you donate it? Not like loan it where you have to get it back. You just donate it.
Why do you need it? If I had $1 billion, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to have a building named after you.
It would be nice. So what do you think of all these college campuses with their new facilities? I mean, do you feel like this is almost a requirement nowadays if you want to compete at the highest level?
Yeah. 1,000%.
What are you seeing that they have consistently? Is it what we're not seeing? I mean, you see the ice surface and you see the suites. I guess some of them may have suites, and you see the buildings, but is it more about the lounge, the weight room, the training facilities?
All of it. They've all got it. And now all these programs, they practice in the morning. So the kids come to the rink, they feed them breakfast, they practice in the morning, and then they have classes throughout the day. But they're able to monitor what they're doing, their development, and really take complete control of all eliminating all the distractions and giving them a place where they're going to make sure they're eating the right way and treating themselves the right way and making them, it's the best setup. All the programs are doing it. So it's pretty cool. The facilities, the ability that they're able to train and feed these kids and get them on the right track.
Jamal, when you were playing, what'd you do in the summer?
I trained with Matt Nickel. Before that it was forget the guy's name, but it's all about getting stronger and faster. And for me, it's all about quickness and maintaining that speed. I basically trained like a sprinter. And then as I got older, I had to lose a little bit of weight. I think that when you lose a little bit of, you can stay quick if you become a little bit more efficient. And I think dropping a little bit of weight helped in that regard as well, because as I got older, the game got faster, and to stay relevant, I think it was really important for me to stay fast.
Yeah, you always said that, even when you were playing. You think sprinting is the proper way to train if you want to get quicker?
A lot of plyometrics, a lot of single leg, a lot of jumping, bounding, a lot of drills where you're on a balls ball or a physio ball where you're not supported with a bench. A lot of things where you're having to use your core to balance, and so it becomes more applicable type of strength stuff. So, but absolutely, a lot of jumping, bounding, sprinting. I mean, I was doing sprints on the treadmill. I probably look like a maniac, but 2-minute sprints, rest for a minute, 2-minute sprints, and I do that for like 30 minutes. I knew if I could do that, if I could sprint for 2 minutes, and I could withstand a shift, getting stuck out there on a penalty kill for a minute and a half.
What about weights?
Yeah, certainly did weights, but a lot of it was single arm balanced on a ball while you're doing it. Again, to engage the core, make sure.
Plates or whatever.
What's that?
With plates.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
but even with a dumbbell,
Mhm.
but you're on one of those balls, you know, that you have to balance and use your core to stabilize yourself versus like laying on an actual bench. So you're actually using your legs to balance, you're using your adductors, you're using your core while you're pushing or pulling,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I was just curious how much weightlifting you did back in the day.
No, very little.
You just had your camp for 6 weeks. What
Yeah.
what do you suggest kids do now? They've got like another week or so before things really ramp up for the season. Is it important to stay on the ice over the course of the? They didn't have your camp last week either, so you had 2 weeks off between your camp and when the season really gets going. What's your suggestion the kids should be doing in that time frame?
Yeah, a little bit of a few touches here and there is good. But I think that the mental break is probably healthy to get away from it for a little bit. Um, but maintaining some of the physical elements that they're probably being introduced to depending on their age. For crew who's 12 turning 13, yeah, working with a guy like Crash a few times a week, 3 times a week, in fact, um, for me is a really good starting point to get them the right life skills when it comes to fitness that they'll have forever. So um, that for me is a good big part of it, and knowing your kid, knowing if they need a break or if they don't need a break, and listening to what they're telling you with their energy level and what they're actually telling you based off from what you're seeing and how they're going about it. So they drive the bus, right? Like the kids drive the bus. It can't be us pushing them, can't be us telling them what to do. But if they have the appetite for it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having them doing a lot of stuff. So we'll see.
All right, so 3
You
days.
see if I'm right.
Yeah, 3 days a week. How long has he been doing that?
This is
And
the first summer.
okay, and all right, so 3 days a week. So this is the first time. And so
Yes.
like when do kids typically start lifting weights and pushing a little bit of weight around?
I think Crash has them using dumbbells now, like 12, 15, 20 pounds. Um, I think 12, 13 they did April 8th.
Did your girls go there too to Crash or no?
Yeah, they did. And then they did Johnny, and they both do different types of things. So I think a balance of both is really good. Johnny's more known for like his explosiveness and sprints and flyos and sprinting and, you know, becoming explosive and fast. So um, it's a good balance.
Yeah, we've been doing Johnny this summer, who's fantastic. And Crash obviously has been great for a long time. There's a lot of options here in St. Louis. A lot of guys who are doing a really good job. You know, Lavecchio's another one. There's just a lot of good,
Yep.
trainers that are spread out throughout St. Louis. How do you think Johnny Taves is going to do after being off the ice as long as he has been?
I think he's going to be awesome. I think it's going to take him a couple months to get acclimated. I wouldn't judge his October, November. I'd like to see how he is in December and on. So from December to the end of the year, I think he's just going to get better and better. I think it's going to be important that he doesn't take up too much ice too. So I think if they keep his ice time between 15 and 18 minutes, you're going to get more out of him.
And what's the biggest challenge going to be? I mean, after being away for as long as he has been.
Getting up to pace, and getting up the pace as quickly as possible is going to be the immediate challenge, and then maintaining that is going to be the next big part of the challenge.
You think hockey starts too early? I mean, it's just we just had Keith Fisher on. You know, they get going with practice now. They can't play their first game till first week of October. Do you remember starting in early August when you were younger? Is that kind of when things got going, or was it a little bit later than that, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit later. I hated it. College, the coaches can't get on the ice till October 1st, I believe.
Well, now it's changed. They can get on the ice in August, but they can't play a game. So,
Oh my God, I thought I was on a track spot. It was awful. We practiced on our own until October, until the coaches could get on the ice. Maybe it was September, but for like a month, we're just running. Like, what am I doing? It was awful.
all 4 years.
Yeah. The key thing too, 200s is probably the best thing a hockey player can do. 200-meter repeats. So run it 200, rest equal time, run it again, do it 10 times. Build up to doing it 16 times.
And you consider that sprinting versus doing 60-yard sprints or whatever?
That's not going to help you for hockey. It's going to help you, but that's one part of it. You have to do the 200s. I'll put it to you this way. I always got frustrated because people are their physical makeup. When you test the VO2 max, your VO2 max is only trainable up to 15%. So if I'm my body, my physiology, and I blow a 60 VO2, I could only improve that by 15%. But someone like Brent Johnson, who smokes cigarettes, just being honest, would blow a 66 because he is, and it didn't work out at all. But I'll tell you what, get him to do 200-meter repeats, he couldn't do it because you can't fake if you're in shape or not to be able to do those. And you just won't physically be able to do it with a ratio of 1-to-1. So what I mean by that, if you run a 200, let's say you run it in 35 seconds, you rest 35 seconds, you do it again. A guy who isn't in shape and didn't train won't be able to do 4 of them in a row, 6 of them, 8 of them, 10 of them. That to me is the real measure of fitness. Can you do sprinting repeats and consistently hit that number?
So that gives you a true indicator as to what kind of shape somebody's in.
Absolutely.
Explain what the 60 would mean. How do you show a 60 VO2 versus somebody who shows higher and lower?
Well, what happens is they plug your nose and they put you on this contraption where they literally are you're breathing into a tube, and then they increase you riding a bike typically or running, and they increase the difficulty as you go along, and usually it only takes you about 15 to 20 minutes. And the machine measures the amount of oxygen you're using.
Okay.
And the higher your own capacity, for example, like a Tour de France guy will blow like in the 70s. Whereas a hockey player, to be a proficient hockey player, like a guy like Fonz who could play the whole game, I bet you he'd probably be a high 60. Whereas I was like, the highest I ever got, I think, was 58 or 60. That's just you're predisposed. Like there's nothing you can do. It is what it is. Although
could Prawn do 200-meter sprints?
I bet you he could.
Yeah,
it's a good question. I bet you could,
because that's telling me, based on what you said, that's telling me all I need to know. If you're in shape?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I did it with my girls when they were training, and during COVID, we did it, and over the course of 3 months, they got so much better at it, and they felt so much better. And it was they couldn't do 8 of them, and then by the end of it, we were doing 12.
So how many would you start with? At
6.
6. So how long you rest for the same amount of time that it takes to run it?
Correct.
So you're basically doing 6 nonstop, back to back to back to back to back to back.
You do 6, you do 1, you rest at equal time, and then you do it again. That makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, how long does it take you to run 200 meters? I mean, 15 seconds?
I think 35 seconds.
Oh, okay. 35 seconds. So you're only resting for 30 seconds. Well, it's a tough workout. I'm going to try it today. Today's a beautiful day, actually, Jamal. It's not very hot out. Today would be the time to do it. Not when it was 100 degrees last week.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm ready to get a run in early.
So I'll let you go here in just a minute, real quick. I know you got your finger on the pulse with San Jose and whatnot. You see Celebrini like handicap his chances to make that Olympic team. You think he's going to find his way on there? He's training right now with McKinnon and Crosby, so that won't hurt him. All it takes is one of those two guys to call up Army and be like, "This guy belongs on the team."
Yeah. Well, I think what's in his favor is that he can be a number 3 or number 4. He can be a penalty killer. He's the most complete 200-foot player I've seen since Jonathan Toews. It's remarkable how he's able to do what he does defensively and offensively. I think that's where he's probably him and Robert Thomas to me are the two vying for that last centerman position.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, just by name recognition alone, I mean, he's going to be a face of Hockey Canada for years to come. So I always wonder, like, when's the right time to get him introduced to that stage, you know? And to, I don't look at it from a marketing standpoint, but I do see some advantages to having him have the opportunity to play with a Crosby and,
Right.
all these other guys. I mean, he's that good. I put him ahead of a guy like Connor Bedard, obviously, who Bedard could just bust out and have 25 goals by the end of November. You just never know. You know what I'm saying? Like this could be his coming out party. So I don't ever want to write that guy off. I'd hate to say it comes down to Robert Thomas or Celebrini. I think Thomas, has more body of work. Obviously, he's playing in front of Doug Armstrong on a daily basis. Other people are going to have a say too, but Doug's going to have the final say. That would work in his favor, and he can kill penalties. And, certainly contribute on the power play if you needed him to. And he's a guy who I think when you look 4 years down the road, who I think would be considered a guy that would be penciled in to make Hockey Canada's Olympic team. So I hope it doesn't come down to those two. I would love to see them find a way to fit in both of them,
Yeah, I agree with you. But the reality is,
Can somebody play the wing? Can somebody play the wing?
I think they both could.
Okay. And they may have to, right? So, I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
I think you're right about that. So, okay. Thanks for joining us, man. All the best to crew out there at Penn State. How long do they go for? Is today the last day or tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow's the last day. So,
okay. Has it been a good experience and everything?
Yeah, really good. Great coaches, great facility, great environment, good competition. It's a lot of positive.
Does he stay in the dorm or do they stay with you?
Unfortunately not. He's at the hotel. We're at the Graduate. So it's I highly recommend those hotels if you're, and I don't get paid for this and we don't give me a deal, but they're pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for camp, by the way. 6 weeks. That went by pretty fast, It
did. I thought it was great. Next year we'll only do it 4 weeks, but Ty had a great summer. Hopefully he enjoyed it. And heck of a player. Great release. Great shot. Fun, very competitive, fun to be around. So I'm excited to see where he goes with it.
Yeah. I think all the boys had a great experience with it and had a lot of fun. And it's good to keep them all together too. A lot of those kids are going to be on the same team. I think there was like 7 or 8 of them that are on the same team that were at the camp. So it's good to kind of create that camaraderie on the ice and off the ice too. So
yeah, I'm interested to see what you say, like if those kids that did the camp, where they are relative to the rest of the group, the kids that didn't do it. I'm really interested to see in November if you notice the kids get a heck better start.
Yeah,
to things.
Don't be a stranger. You ever want to come out and skate with the boys?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, man. All the best.
Okay.
Do you drive up there or you fly?
We flew to Pittsburgh and drove 3 hours.
Okay. Tell us about Dobbs Tires and Auto Centers, though, before you go.
Well, they're unbelievable. Think about all the different places they have, all the family owned, all around town. Anytime you have a car issue, and it's not just your tires, they do an unbelievable job on everything they do and can service your car, get it in, up, out, fixed. You know what it is. Go to Dobbs.com for more, but fantastic family owned business that does things the right way and great people. Doesn't matter what location you go to. They treat you like family, and they make sure they take care of you right away. And gotta love them. Check it out.
Okay, we're gonna have you back in studio next week. Are you around next week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we'll see you then. Have a great trip back. All the best to crew. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. Take care.
See you, Jammer. That's Jamal Mayers joining us here on Hockey Sense. Brought to you by First Community, obviously, and all our other great sponsors as well. We'll take a break. A short one, as you can tell here on a podcast. We'll come back and wrap up this edition of Hockey Sense. Don't go anywhere. All right, hope you enjoyed Keith Fisher, man. All the best to Lindenwood University, and all the best to he and his family as they make this trek. I mean, he's been in the game for a long time. He didn't have to come to Lindenwood. He could have stayed at Penn State. Who knows? maybe there's an opportunity for him down the road to become a head coach there. And listen, it's always easier to become a head coach if you've been a head coach. And I think that's I think the path you have to take if you want to get into coaching. Now, I'm not going to suggest that he's going to be here for 1 year and then he's out. But Lindenwood is one of those programs, and we saw that with Bill Muckall. You have success here, I think it opens up the doors for some of these more established programs that have been around for a long time. But let's hope, we see some commitment to Lindenwood as well. I'd love to see this thing grow with a coach at the helm, and see just the program build under one direction. I think it would be great for everybody here in St. Louis. If this thing's going to work, obviously you want to see some commitment on all sides, and I think you found that in Keith Fisher. That interview from Keith, brought to you by First Community. Options. I want to read every single one of these, man, because they gave me so many different things to talk about with First Community, but we try to spread it around each and every week. So I'm going to talk about the back-to-school auto loans. We talked about the back-to-school loans, the checking account for the kids going back to school. Go to firstcommunity.com to learn more about that. But how about the back-to-school auto loans? Summer is coming to an end. We mentioned that before, how it's back-to-school time. And, you can be your kid's Uber driver. And nobody wants to do that for too long. So now you can buy a newer, reliable, quality used car. And let me get you in on a little secret. So First Community's auto loan rates are the same whether it's buying new or used. It doesn't change. So if you're buying a used car or a new car, the First Community rates, they don't change. So most places, just to give you an idea, they charge a higher rate for used cars compared to the new cars. But First Community doesn't do that. Qualified borrowers can get as low of a rate as 4.99%. APR for 36 months. Are you kidding me? I promise you that's a great rate. You don't believe me? Come on. Go do your rate shopping and come back and see me. Do your homework. Compare the rates for yourself. But you'll see First Community always competitive with great rates. 90 days before the first payment is due. Well, I'll take that. Holy smokes. 90 days before the first payment is due. First Community brings us hockey sense each and every week. Dirt cheap, fun, your one-stop party shop. The Wallace family just flat out getting it done. Taking our experience to the next level, one dirt cheap at a time here in St. Louis. Download that app and do it today. So many of the locations have drive-thrus, by the way. I mean, you can go and do all your shopping online on the app and then pull up. Everything's there for you. They do curbside pickup if you want that. You can go through the drive-thru and order your stuff there. You don't have to get out of your car at some of these locations with Dirt Cheap, fun, your one-stop party shop, baby. Dirt Cheap, baby. Your one-stop party shop. Cheap, fun. Blue Note Roofing, you see the sign behind me, 314-920-5713. Call David Novak today, my main man. He'll talk hockey with you, too, and get you set up. Free estimates galore. It's got everything that you need over there with Blue Note Roofing. Frontenac Detailing. I took my car in there recently. I had that full-on wax coating on the outside. It looks, I'm not joking when I say this, that it looks nicer than it did the day that I drove it off the lot. It is so nice. So Frontenac Detailing, it's inside the Honda of Frontenac, and they do it all. Premium detailing, paint correction, ceramic coatings, window tinting. Are your wheels scuffed up? They shouldn't be. Get it fixed with Frontenac Detailing. Windows, your windshield, is it chipped up? Get it fixed. Interior damage. They repair, replace, and restore. Dents, dings, hail damage, bumpers, fenders, hoods, doors. They make them all look new. Go to frontnacdetailing.com. Jim's amazing, by the way. This guy is a savant. Like, he knows what he wants to do, and he knows what he's doing. He doesn't have to be doing this. He was in the financial business for a long time. He just started this business several years ago. And go read the reviews. And that's all you need to know. So if you're looking for detailing, go to frontnacdetailing.com and take your car in there. Let them take care of you. Jim. You won't forget that name. That's all you need to know is Jim. You go in there, Frontenac Detailing, Jim. Let him take care of your car needs and get you looking like it's brand new. Just like that. If you're like me, you got a wife who drives kids around everywhere and the cars get sticky, wrappers everywhere. I mean, the kids are just disgusting. We all know that. They will make your car look brand new. So check it out, Front Neck Detailing. All right, that does it for this edition of Hockey Sense. Also, Travel House, by the way, travelhouse.com, HAUS, all your vacation needs, spring breaks, vacations, ski vacations, all inclusives, European vacations, wherever you want to go. Call Gail Alshey. She'll take care of you. Travelhouse.com. All the information is there. HAUS. Travel House. HAUS. All right, for Aiden, everybody here at Half Coast Studios, you're looking to do a podcast, no better place than to come right here at Half Coast Studios. Look them up. Again, Aiden in the house, getting us on and off the air. Keith Fisher, all the best, man. Welcome to St. Louis. Jamal Mayers doing his thing at Penn State. Who knew we had Keith Fisher on? He spent all those years at Penn State, and then we went, both our guests on the show today were in College Station because Keith hasn't moved yet. And Jamal's there with his son at Pagula Arena. It's kind of crazy. Lots of blue stuff coming, heavy blue stuff coming your way as well as we get deeper into the month of August, and then we'll be in September, and training camps are going to open, and the season's going to start before you know it at the beginning of October. So I'm Andy Strickland reminding you to keep your head up and your stick on the ice. We'll do it again next week as we do each and every week here on Hockey Sense. Have a great weekend, everybody.